Today, we will recap the story of the 2021 movie, Raya and the Last Dragon. So, sit back and enjoy. 500 years ago, peace reigned over the entire world, and people worked together to build Kumandra, a federation of 5 kingdoms that, to humans, resembled a dragon. There were also dragons, mystical beings who brought the human race peace and prosperity. However, the Druids, a creature that multiplies and spreads like wildfire while absorbing souls, appeared out of nowhere. Every person it came into contact with turned to stone, including the dragon. Sisu, the last dragon, defeated all of the Druids that day by having to focus all of her magic on a single gem. Except for the dragons, everyone who had turned to stone regained their humanity. All that was left of Sisu was her jewel. The tribe started to fight amongst themselves and all desired the power of the gem, which eventually split everyone into 5 tribes: Fang, Heart, Tail, Spine, and Talon. This forced the Heart tribe to keep the jewel hidden, and they have been guarding it ever since. 500 years later, Raya, a young lady from the Heart tribe kingdom, appeared on the scene. Her father was the dragon gem keeper, and he was grooming her to be the next dragon gem keeper. Her mission that day was to escape the dangers of the cave and reach the top of the mountain, where the gem was hidden. With the help of her devoted pet, a tuk-tuk, the young lady managed to open the gate, walking right up to the magical sphere. As she approached the gem, she was stopped by a man who assured her that she would not be able to put a single finger near the dragon gem circle. Raya accepted this as a challenge, and while they traded blows, the man was able to disarm her, declaring this to be the finish line. He had no idea that the girl had managed to get one of her feet to touch the dragon gem circle. As a result of the challenge, her father was proud and declared that the girl had passed the test. Later that day, Binja informed them that she would now carry on her family's legacy and become the newest guardian of the dragon gem. Rayan's father believed that, despite their differences, everyone would return to Kumandra. He made the decision to organize an international feast, extending invitation to all nations. When the leaders of the other 4 kingdoms arrived, everyone was curious as to why they had been invited and began accusing Binja of stealing the dragon's jewel. In order to break the silence, Raya asked, "Who's hungry?" Namaari, the Fang leader's daughter, approached the girl, and they quickly realized that they had similar interests, so they became friends. During the party, as the girls discussed dragons, Raya revealed that she was a fan of Sisu the dragon. Namaari claimed that there were rumors in her lands that she was still alive. The young lady read from a scroll, claiming that after defeating all Druids, she had fallen into the water and been carried downstream. She was said to be sleeping at the river's bottom. Raya was overjoyed to hear this. Then, Namaari decides to thank her new friend, Raya, with a gift and gives her a dragon necklace. Raya decides to take the girl up the mountain to show her the dragon's gem. When Namaari discovers the jewel, her first thought is to knock Raya down and steal the gem. However, when Raya realizes she is not strong enough to defeat her, she gets up and decides to protect the jewel. Namaari then fires a flare to call her family's attention. As members of the other realms arrive and everyone begins to argue, Binja tries to persuade them to unite. Unfortunately, a man in the crowd attacks him with an arrow, and a fight breaks out. The other kingdoms attempt to steal the dragon gem, resulting in the gem being smashed to pieces. As the gem is crushed, the ground begins to crack, and the cave collapses. Suddenly, Druids appeared and began to absorb human souls, turning them to stone. Seeing this, everyone began to flee for their lives. Noticing that the gem's magic was still active, each kingdom stole a shard of the stone, and everyone fled in an attempt to escape. Raya and her father realized that water could repel those monsters. They made it to the bridge. As a result of the wound on his leg, Binja realized he wouldn't be able to escape, so he gave his dragon sword to his daughter and threw her into the river. 6 years later, Raya had been searching for the mouth of the river in order to summon Sisu, the dragon, to assist her in recovering the missing gem pieces. This time, however, Raya was riding on her pet tuk-tuk, which had grown bigger and was transporting her across the desert. The girl had already searched all the other rivers without finding the last dragon, and now she was at the final river of the 5 kingdoms. The girl then entered a shipwreck and performed a ritual to summon Sisu's spirit. Suddenly, something strange began to happen. The water started to float, the bubbles joined together, and Sisu appeared. Raya was relieved to see the girl. Raya informed Sisu of the bad news, that the dragon stone had been broken and the Druids were on the loose again. She also admitted that it was entirely her fault and requested another gem from Sisu, but the dragon revealed that she did not create the gem. She had simply used it to defeat the monsters. When she collected the fragments, Sisu started to glow and said, "That is the power of Amba, her younger sister." Each dragon had a special ability, and hers was swimming because she was a water dragon. Raya advised that they go after the missing pieces. Meanwhile, Namaari and her tribe were looking for Raya. Namaari found a necklace and recalled that it belonged to Raya. They mounted their massive cats and descended to the wreck in search of Raya. When they arrived at the Tail Temple, they found a tunnel full of explosive insects called booms and had to be extra careful when crossing to prevent being attacked by their explosions. After overcoming this obstacle, they eventually discovered what they were searching for. Entangled in a tree along with the remains of the realm's leader, Carcass, Raya extended her sword to cross with the dragon and catch the ceiling. She knew she would fall into a trap if she took up the stone, so she chose to use a stick to keep the skeleton's arm in the same place as she picked up the gem pieces. When Sisu touched that piece, she transformed into a woman and declared that this was her sister's ability. Praying had the power to transform into a human. A few seconds later, Namaari looked around with her group and wondered what Ryan was up to. She was surprised to discover that the girl had found a new companion. Ryan returned the dragon scroll from the kingdom of Fong that Namaari had gifted to her when she was a child. Ryan knew that Namaari was chasing her because of it, but the girl still ordered her guards to catch her. Raya's only way out of this situation was to set off the trap. Raya takes the corridor and causes the insects to distract the girl before rushing to Tuk Tuk, allowing her and Sisu to escape through the gate. They are now being chased, and Raya has the wonderful idea of jumping into the river since cats don't like water. Luckily, there was a small boat nearby that was sailed by a young boy. As the enemy approaches, Raya gives the boy money to take them to Tail, and Sisu assists by taking the boat away from the shore. Everyone is now secure. The next day, when they arrive at Tail, Raya requests that Sisu stay, claiming that she knows where the gem piece is. While walking down a dark alley, Raya comes upon a baby and attempts to help her find her parents. The large bug had been climbed by some monkeys. When Raya noticed the dragon jewel fragment was stolen, the girl on her lap attacked her and fled with the monkeys. At that point, the young woman understood she had been duped. Back on the ship, Sisu decides to go shopping for a present for Dan Hightail's leader, but realizes she has no money. The child suggested that she put it on the bill. He then explained that this was similar to making a promise she could buy now and pay later. The dragon was happy with the idea and ran out to acquire everything she saw. A few minutes later, the shopkeeper confronted her and told her she had to pay what she owed at the time. A kind lady approached to save her and invited the girl to join her on the opposite side of town. Raya continued her chase for the small monsters that had stolen her gem pieces. She followed them for a few minutes before capturing them with the help of a tuk-tuk. The thieves decided to return the girl's belongings. When Raya inquired about the girl's family, one of the monkeys informed her that they had turned to stone. The girl decided to help. She stated that she had a deal for them. She asked them to distract the guards while she broke into the castle in exchange for food. When she arrived at Deng Hai's palace, the young woman discovered that the man had turned to stone. Therefore, the piece of jewelry was not with him. The stone was with the old lady who had taken it from Deng Hai. The woman took Sisu to the gate of the city and ordered her to tell her where she could find the other pieces of jewelry. Sisu was disappointed that she had been tricked. As far as she could remember, humanity had been fair and trustworthy, but that was all in the past. Luckily for Sisu, Raya showed up to save her. She stole the piece of the jewel from the woman's hands and gave it to Sisu, and by touching it, she acquired the power of her brother Jagan's smoke clouds. When they arrived at the boat, Bound served food to the girl and her monkey friends, as Ryan had promised. Now that the quest was complete, they made their way towards the next realm. In Fong, Namaari, she appears and informs them that she has found Raya and discovered that she is collecting the other pieces of the gem. Her plan was to take the army to the Kingdom of Spine to intercept it. Veronica, her mother, accepted the young woman's request and ordered the general to prepare the royal army for Namaari's command. When they arrived in Spine, Sisu took a pot filled with food and ran away. Raya goes after her, and the dragon claims that she will prove to the girl that humans can be trusted. But when they approach the gate, they are caught by the sole survivor of the tribe, a fearsome warrior named Tong. However, Raya soon realizes that he is just a lonely man, looking for company. Tuk Tuk and the rest of the team break into the cabin, and the monkeys tie up Tong and inform her that Namaari's army is at the gates. Raya soon hears the girl's voice. She orders the people of Spine to hand over Raya, or else they will invade the kingdom. Tong reveals that he is the only survivor of the battle against the Druids. Ryan asks Tong to help her friends escape through another exit. The girl opened the gates, and they both faced each other. Ryan was knocked down, but soon after, she got up and engaged in hand-to-hand combat with Namaari. At that time, Ryan was defeated, and Sisu decided to come back to help her. The dragon used its mist to cover the warrior's vision and came face to face with Namaari. The girl became emotional to see Sisu alive and was speechless. Raya took the moment to run away. Now that their new friends had discovered that Sisu was a dragon, they decided to join them in their quest to fix the world. Tong handed over his piece of the gem. Upon touching it, Sisu acquired the rain magic, which belonged to her older brother Pengu. After having fun for a few minutes, she fell into the water. Later, Sisu took Ryan to the Heart Kingdom, her homeland. She informed them that 500 years ago, It was there that everything happened. She presented the statues of her brothers and told them that they were the last dragons. In the battle against the Druids, all the dragons were turned to stone except for Sisu and her brothers. However, Pengu, her older brother, refused to accept defeat. They united their powers in a sphere. Finally, they chose Sisu to take possession of the jewel and save the world. She said that she didn't know why she was chosen. However, she knew she could trust in them and that they trusted in her. That's how she exterminated the Druids from the Earth's surface. After revealing her story, Sisu asked Raya to trust Namaari again, as this would be the solution they were looking for. The group then headed over to Fong in search of the last piece of the dragon gem. Namaari arrived at her kingdom and informed her mother about the dragon that was with Raya. She claims that Sisu can fix everything that was destroyed. Veronica claims that when everyone is back to normal, Fang's kingdom will be persecuted, and the other kingdom will blame them for what happened. So the woman asks Namaari to be calm, as she already has an action plan to put into practice. That night, Ryan decides to follow Sisu's plan and ask for Namaari's help. At her request, Noi and the monkeys bring the girl a package containing the dragon necklace along with a note. While having dinner on the boat, Raya and her friends see Namaari's signal and go to find her. The girl has the pieces of the jewel and gives it to Raya. At that moment, Sisu appears and tries to unite all the pieces together to fix everything and return it to normal. However, this is another trap by Namaari. She points a crossbow at Ryan and orders the girl to hand over all the pieces of the jewel. Sisu tries to convince her to change her mind, but Raya realizes that Namaari is about to shoot and uses her sword to stop her. At that moment, the dragon is hit in the chest and falls into the water. So Namaari takes her piece of the jewel and runs away. The water that surrounded that realm begins to disappear, and the evil creatures approach the palace. Raya, blinded with rage, goes after Namaari. She breaks into the castle and confronts the girl, whose mother had just turned to stone, and they both start a fight. They exchange a few sword blows, and Rayan's friends use the other gem shards to save the residents of Fong. The girl manages to disarm Namaari and is about to kill her, but decides to leave. As they were about to cross the gate, the Druids surrounded Tuk Tuk, but the animal is saved by Namaari suddenly. The ground beneath them collapses, and the Druids manage to surround them. Raya finds Sisu's necklace and remembers what the dragon said. She remembers that the most important factor that allowed Sisu to save the world was trust. So Raya asks give their jewels to Namaari, as the only way to fix the world is to trust each other. However, her friends claim that it is impossible to trust Namaari. So, Raya decides to take the first step and hands over her piece of jewelry to the girl. Seeing this, her friends decide to do the same and give their piece of the jewel to Namaari. Namaari sees an exit and thinks about escaping from there, but gives up on this idea and decides to stay to reassemble the jewel. However, her plan doesn't work and the dragon gem goes out. Namaari joins Ryan and is also turned to stone. Minutes later, the gem glows again and dissipates its magic. The Druids are exterminated, and all those who have turned to stone are returned to normal, including the dragons. The water fountain starts flowing again, and dragons appear, coloring the sky. They gather at the lake and perform a ritual that brings Sisu back. She joins her siblings and then heads towards Raya to thank her. Before saying goodbye, each of them can return to their kingdom and see their family. Tong is reunited with his wife and son. Noi returns to her parents, and Baun is back with the siblings. Raya and Tuk Tuk arrive in Heart, and the girl finally is able to see her father. Soon after, Sisu appears and informs him that Raya has brought some friends. Instantly, the leaders and inhabitants of all the other realms appear and gather to form the new Kumandra. What do you think of this movie? Comment below.